You know what it's supposed to look like, and I know the ones that were blown up the last time around, so don't try to fool me. Next time. Who? You choose. You have to choose. You must choose.
Who gets it?
Yes, of all the ones that are up.
Okay. This one is.
Come
That one is. That one
Okay. We've got enough prizes for a couple questions and for the final suicide round. So, who would like to just have a trophy? And all these little squares of paper are the little patches that came with the trophies. So if you've got a leak, look for a little patch. They're all over the place. Bill Goldstein of Hunter's College and the New York Times has agreed to be here to lend some class to this mayhem. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's Bill.
I've never been at an event like this before, and I've been very sheltered in the past. I mean, I've interviewed people like on stage like Joyce Carol Oates and John Irving and Ian McEwan, and they don't do this kind of stuff beforehand. So, I mean, you have a gift for getting your audience really involved. I've never seen people blowing things up before. So
you can still hear it.
Yeah, the hiss, the hiss of the escaping air. Anyway, congratulations. I mean, you obviously have a real rapport. I mean, I feel like I'm sort of the last player on a vaudeville bill, and you know, I'm not getting the laughs that I need. But anyway, so I guess most people here will have not have read Tell All, and I have been lucky enough to have read it. And so my first question, this is a book about an old Hollywood star, I mean, Catherine Kenton, who was impersonated variously by, I guess her maid was impersonated by Julie Halston. So she's an old-time star, sort of the greatest movie star of all, and we get her story. And filtering through the story are all these people like Milton Berle. I mean, you referred to Milton Berle in this. I don't think he's in this novel, but people of that kind. And I'm wondering, she's a big part of the story. The playwright Lillian Hellman, why do you hate Lillian Hellman so much? what do you have against her? I mean, you sort of make her out to be probably no more ridiculous than she might really have been in life, but why do you dislike her, seemingly?
You had a mother, right?
I still do. I mean,
Okay.
and she's actually, a lot like Lillian Hellman. At least, she looks like her.
Boys only tease the girls they like.
Okay.
And so in a way, I thought Lillian Hellman typified a kind of behavior that all people do. All people kind of self-mythologize, self-aggrandize when they retell the story of their lives. You've got 22-year-olds writing memoirs now and planning to write long series of memoirs. And you've got people blogging, I had scrambled eggs for breakfast. You've got people really blowing their lives up, and they always have. And so I think they feel always a little guilty about the fact that they self-mythologize. And so when somebody like James Fry comes along and gets caught, he has to be the scapegoat that carries everyone's sins out of the village. He has to be the one that is punished for everyone's transgressions. And so it's nice to see ourselves as part of a pattern in history where James Fry was Lillian Hellman, was Margaret Asquith, that the people throughout history have done this. And it's only when you get caught that you have to be punished for everyone.
Well, Lillian Hellman as a playwright, I mean, she wrote several memoirs that later turned out to have been largely false, like the movie Julia, which she claimed was based on her own life. Turned out she stole it from someone else. And you don't mention this in the book, but Mary McCarthy, another writer, long dead, said of Lillian Hellman that every word she wrote was a lie, including and the. So I guess, you're taking off against people like Lillian Hellman, I mean, and the people who fabricate the truth and sort of try to make their lives even more sort of larger than life than they might have otherwise been.
In a way, I see those people, especially Lillian Hellman, because she's dead and can't sue me.
Well, she did sue Mary McCarthy.
Right.
And the case only ended when she died.
I see them in a way as a kind of hero in that they shamelessly indulge in a behavior that we all covertly indulge in. That they do something courageously and boldly that most of us do kind of secretly and lamely. So, no, I think that makes her a hero. And that's why I chose to cast her as this reoccurring hero that resolves all the crises of the 20th century. In a way is to kind of do her as a huge fictional character better than she ever would have dreamt of doing herself.
So she was even larger than life than she was in real life, because she was pretty accomplished in real life. It's so fantastic. I mean, what you do, she drops the bomb on Hiroshima. She's there at Dealey Plaza when Lee Harvey Oswald is assassinating JFK. I mean, she asks him this fantastic question. She says, "Stop, do you really want LBJ as your president?" So, I mean, did you do research into Lillian Hellman at all, or how did the idea come to you to do this with Lillian Hellman as your vehicle?
The idea is sitting in the front row, so somebody was telling me about people in publishing who'd been asked to do research about certain details of travel details on certain dates at certain points in history. And then they later realized that the research that they had done was for Lillian Hellman's Pentimento, for specifically the Julia story. And at this point, they really couldn't object because they were kind of roped in as accomplices. And they felt this real bitterness, this resentment, that they had been kind of made, what's the word? It starts with a C. Collaborators, co-conspirators. I don't know a lot of words in English. But you know what I mean. So they really couldn't come forward at the time. And it was hearing these stories that was a big part of starting the book.
Well, in this book, you can't really tell what's true and what's not. I mean, the character, Catherine Kenton, as we hear about her through her maid, who's